coalition was really neat. It was because it really was a coalition. It was a group of people that had nothing in common except for the fact that they happened to be queer or on the edge of being queer. And then there was the diversity committee from Berkshire Community College. There was a representative from Williams College. There was PFLAG, Parents for Kids. There was eventually the Glub Club, Gay Youth and Undecided.
Nice.
There was Wild Women's Sports, the Supper Club,
Yes.
MCLA. So it was a real coalition. And so we just consolidated the things each group was doing. We sent out this little newsletter, which sat around it was Xeroxed and, we were still cutting and pasting, if you can believe it.
Oh, I believe it. I remember those days.
Yeah, and mailing it. And we would get together once a month and sit around the table, our dining room table. And it was tiresome, but it was worth doing. And people were much more isolated because there was no internet.
Right, yes.
And so we started putting on this annual festival. And the first year, we were trying to figure out who we were going to get for a speaker. And I said to Dick, Barney Frank had written Dick a fan letter when his first book had come out, Death Trick.
Oh,
and I said,
nice.
you should call Barney Frank. And he was like, well, I don't know. And of course, Barney said, sure. Came for free.
He's such a mensch.
Right. And so that really put us on the map. And so next time we ask somebody, hey, Susan. Pause this.
See a red light?
Yeah.
Good.
I see a red light. I'm moving to the light.
Yes. So, Susan, just your name, please.
Susan Pinsker.
And
Joe Wheaton.
thank you. Susan and Joe are here to talk about the founding and subsequent history of the Berkshire Stonewall Community
The
Coalition.
initial impetus for getting the group together. We were aware of some of these individual groups, but we thought if we could pull them together, there was a lot of redundancy in what they were doing, and if we could kind of form a cohesive group, it would provide an opportunity to have a face that was broad-ranging and sane, rather than let somebody else tell people who we were first. This gave us an opportunity. And the fact that Dick was writing editorials really helped to kind of establish a tone at the Eagle that, these are issues that are important, should be talked about, and should be considered. And so never did we have to confront anything. And that was interesting, and it may be that the Berkshire was it was never going to happen here, or it may have been that we were a respectable group that were doing things, attracting people like Barney Frank, to our first festival.
And Joe, would you say again about the various organizations that came together?
So from the beginning, there were the colleges. There was the Berkshire Community College. Susan was head of the diversity committee there. We had a representative from MCLA, North Adams. There was somebody from Williams College, Stephen Collingsworth.
Oh, that's
and
right.
then we had Wild Women's Sports and Kerwood. Kathy Roth,
Right.
early on. I
Right.
don't know that she represented a group,
No.
but she was one of the early kind of pioneers in the gay women's movement with, I'm forgetting her name. Ann Kerwood, did I mention, was Wild Women's Sports. And the Supper Club, which was
Gay
South
Men's
County,
Club? Yes.
gay men's group. I think that's about it. Judy Nordaci from the
Glad. Glad?
No, PFLAG.
PFLAG.
And then we
sorry.
had eventually Glub Club, which was Gay Youth Undecided. And anyhow, it was a real coalition. And some people were straight, some people were gay, some people were lesbians. And
Some were allies.
some were allies, exactly. And we had a lot of allies. I mean, we had an annual festival, and many of our supporters were friends and businesses that took an interest in, their gay friends. And it was a very reassuring moment here.
In the Berkshires.
Everywhere, yeah.
Yeah, I think the Berkshires was a particularly safe is not the word I would choose, but I can't think of another word for it.
Congenial.
Yeah, and open to gay
Right.
issues. A pretty liberal
Yeah,
county
progressive.
for the most part. So
Yeah.
what year did we start the
Oh, dear.
coalition?
Here
Joe
we
said,
go.
don't ask me about that.
I think I was already in the faculty by then. I had started as a sort of academic program coordinator, as student services coordinator, and then I moved into the faculty. I taught psych, and I started a committee within the college to address diversity on campus. And I had already started a Women's History Month and a Black History Month. And I became aware that we should start expanding beyond just women's and Black history. And I wanted to do something about gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender. Well, back then it was gay, lesbian stuff.
Yes.
And that might have been it might have been the impetus, the year that Governor Weld, a Republican, mind you, declared, I think it was October, Gay Lesbian Month.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
he declared it, and it was like,
I
okay.
don't either.
Yeah.
You don't remember that
No,
about
I
him?
don't.
He was pretty
He was
liberal in his own
progressive,
way.
yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, but I am straight, and I didn't know what to do for Gay Lesbian Month.
Right.
And actually, Kathy Roth, is it Ross or Roth? Roth. Kathy Roth was doing Berkshire Community College, alias BCC, had already started doing a women's festival several years before, and she was very much involved with that. And so I went to her because I did know that she was gay, and she said, "Oh, you've got to meet Dick and Joe," because they started this coalition of all the gay, lesbian groups in the Berkshires, and they'd be a great resource for you. And I thought, okay. So I don't remember how I ended. Maybe she brought me to one of the meetings. They were in your living room, dining room.
Right.
Everybody gathered around this huge round table with food.
Always.
Always food.
Well,
chips and dip. And
Two of them, of course.
they were such great providers. And
Gluttony is a great motivator.
well, and not just gluttony, because that implies it doesn't matter the quality. It was always really good stuff.
we had to eat it.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, Joe told me he was 10 years in the catering business.
Yes.
So-
Oh, yeah. I mean, he knows what he's doing in the kitchen. So it was just such a convivial group.
Yeah,
We
that was
laughed
it.
a lot.
Oh, we had fun.
We had so much. It was like, you know how everybody complains about board meetings or
Yeah.
just meetings? I never felt that way
I
about
know,
the
that's-
Stonewall Coalition meetings. They
Yeah,
were just
me too.
a hoot.
Yeah.
And we got stuff done.
Right, that was the thing.
Yeah.
And she was a doer. We latched onto her.
Well,
There were a lot of people who showed up and had a lot of ideas and a lot of complaints, but who didn't do much. But Susan was not that person.
Well, I was fortunate that I had the college behind me, and so I had a budget, so I could bring people. I didn't know who to bring, but Dick and Joe did, and other people on the committee did. So when they would come up with someone, I'd say, "Okay, I'm gonna find out how much I can spend, and we'll try and bring them." And
Right.
we did stuff on campus. I did stuff on campus through the recommendations I got from the committee, but also I brought people to the festival, which we should talk about the festival, because that was a real culmination.
Yeah.
But you talk about the festival first.
Well, we had to raise a few bucks if we were going to do anything, and so the festival became both an opportunity for people to get together and to raise a little bit of money. We didn't need much, but we needed some, and it became obvious that we needed to pay for speakers, and I paid for a few of them, but mostly I called my artist friends, and everybody gave art, and we got services donated. People were incredibly supportive. And we'd have an annual auction, but then we'd have a performance in the afternoon. Lorena Hickok doing the...
somebody else doing Lorena Hickok.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
But great stuff.
Yeah.
Jeffrey Solomon. And
We had a lot of really good speakers, and the college supported. We would bring performances to BCC, and then they would do double
hand
time
them off.
at the festival.
Yeah.
So it was like a real working together about that.
Was this a specific time of year each year?
It was in the spring.
It was April. It was always April.
Yeah.
We always had good weather.
And we did Seven Hills,
Right.
Seven Hills Resort, which was a lovely setting.
Yeah.
Sort of in the country.
It was respectable.
It was very respectful. It was
It was not
very
what we were
respectable.
used to.
Lenny
being in the
Bernstein
summer.
used to stay at the
Did
Seven
he?
Hills. Yeah. Because I knew a man who was actually a professor at BCC, but I had a connection to him before that, and his family owned Seven Hills.
Andrew Howitt.
Andrew Howitt,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so he told me about growing up there, and Lenny Bernstein was regular. There were pictures of all sorts of important people on the walls.
Nice.
Yeah, it was sort of funky, little old colonial, beautiful gardens. It was a really nice setting and a great. I guess it was a ballroom where we'd have the dinners.
Right.
Right.
And then dances downstairs in the
That's right.
seedy basement that really felt like a gay bar.
Oh, wow.
Because it was so seedy and dark and low ceiling.
Yes.
Right. And I think you mostly decorated it down there. It was pretty cool. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, it sounds wonderful.
It was
Yes.
fun.
So
And
there
it
was, I'm sorry, more than one festival.
Oh, we did it for many
It was
years.
annual. We had at least eight.
Well, I
years
know.
in a row.
I solicited art for 10 years and
10 years.
decided I couldn't ask another person.
Yes.
This is for the silent auction.
For
the art.
for the festival.
Yeah.
So at least 10 years.
Yeah.
That's a great run.
Yeah. Oh, and we had interesting Evan Wolfson, who was and
I'm trying to remember. I'm like drawing. Oh, we had David Sedaris.
David Sedaris.
Yeah, I think he might be our most high
him
profile.
and Barney Frank.
And Barney Frank, yeah. I'm trying to think of who else we may have had.
It was such a wonderful thing because people were isolated. And, it gave people an opportunity to see that there were a lot of gay people out here. And there was a support structure for it.
And so many supportive people too, and that it was cool to be gay. I mean, it was like, why not celebrate?
Right.
And in fact, that sort of culminated in us doing the July 4th parade.
That's right. I just found pictures from the
did you?
float. Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, we had a float. I think I still have the little thing they gave us, the prize.
Oh, did we get a prize?
So, yeah, we did. I think they didn't dare not give us a prize.
What was the float like?
It was just rainbow balloons. It was not terribly imaginative.
And there were no people with chains, or it wasn't like gay pride.
But,
It was,
and then we had
t-shirts or something.
historical. We had placards with historical gay,
like history, not just from the Berkshires.
No, from history,
Stonewall
from
and all
antiquity, and Da
okay.
Vinci, and
Alexander the Great. That
exactly.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it was educational.
Well, it
which
was
is
just a
very
little
appropriate.
reminder that we've been around. This
Yes.
may be our first float in Pittsfield, but we've been floating around for a while. Some of us even respectable.
Yeah,
But it was fun.
It was. We marched alongside it.